Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, starting on the 2-hour time frame for Bitcoin. Because since my last video, we actually liquidated over $300 million worth of short positions that were sitting at about 98.6K. Of course, this was also something that I talked about in my last video. And it goes to show, guys, that it is very dangerous to keep open those highly leveraged short or long positions when we are in this choppy sideways price action that we've been in ever since the start of February here. Of course, on the lower time frames, it can still make sense to trade those low time frame swings to the upside as well as to the downside, but those are quick in and out moves that I personally prefer taking, because then you don't have to rely on a big breakout above a strong level of resistance. As far as some support to the downside goes on this 2-hour time frame, we do have that support setting from 95.3K all the way down to 94.6K, although we do have a bit of a different picture here on the 4-hour time frame, simply because of how these candles actually closed. Because on this 4-hour time frame, this is more so looking like a descending channel than this sideways range that we have on the 2-hour time frame. So do with that what you like. Personally, I'm going to keep both of them in my charts and just look at the different structures based on which time frame I'm looking at. Either way, for now, this descending line of resistance is sitting at 97.9K. And this is slowly trending down over time. Currently, it looks like Bitcoin is getting ready to retest this, and beware of a possible rejection from there, potentially even down to the bottom of this range, which is currently sitting at 94.4K. Do keep in mind that this is, of course, not a prediction that I'm making. I'm simply telling you where the support and resistance levels are on this 4-hour time frame. One thing that is starting to look a bit better for the bulls is the fact that we broke this descending line of resistance that we were trading below for quite a long time. Besides that, we should also take a look at the bigger support and resistance levels on this 4-hour time frame. Currently, we're trading right on top of that 97.5K level, and this is acting as some resistance here in the short term. As far as further resistance to the upside goes on the 4-hour time frame, that is sitting from 99 all the way up to 100K. Once we break that 100K level, we can start looking at this next level of resistance to the upside. And as far as some further support to the downside, for example, on this 1-day time frame, that is sitting from around 96K all the way down to 95,000. But overall, guys, as you can see, we do not have any momentum whatsoever on this 1-day time frame. We are exactly just trading sideways. So my analysis actually remains the same here as in the last video. We are lacking momentum, basically just chopping between this 0.382 Fibonacci level at 98.4K and this 0.236 Fibonacci level sitting at 95.7K. And before we can even consider moves to the upside or to the downside, we need to get out of this range with a daily candle close. And of course, this also counts on the lower time frames. Before we can see those bigger moves, we need to get out of this range here. And I understand, as I said in my last video, that this can be a little bit frustrating for me to say, yeah, we can go up or down from here, but that is simply what a range like this is actually like. You know, on the 1-day time frame, this is technically still just trending down. I took it a bit wide here on the wicks, but I actually prefer looking at the wicks as far as breaking an actual downtrend or uptrend goes, because it kind of decreases the chance of a fake out or something happening. Next, taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat maps. Here we took out that big level of liquidity of over $300 million being liquidated there. As I mentioned earlier in the video, as far as liquidity that is left goes, there is some liquidity still at 99,000 roughly speaking, as well as at 94K. But again, if we actually zoom in on the 3-day time frame, there's liquidity to the upside as well as to the downside, which also speaks to this choppy sideways price action that we saw on the lower time frames here recently as well. Lastly, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin ETF flow tables. On Friday, we saw a small net inflow of about $70 million. So again, over the last week, we saw some outflows a little bit bearish. We saw a little bit of inflows as well. Basically, not too much really going on here. So again, guys, hopefully we can get out of this chop sometime soon. I'm sorry, I cannot really make a strong prediction or a strong call here in the immediate short term. This is simply because we are in a range, but as I know from experience, eventually we break out of the range and a lot of volatility is coming back into the market. And I am really looking forward to that. So make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you don't miss any of these important update videos. But regardless, if you do end up subscribing or not, thank you for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.